What is anime? The most cliche YouTuber question you could possibly start a video with. But after Cipher the video, I'm not really sure I know anymore. You might say anime needs a story, or a plot, or things like character development, but does anime really need all that? Does it? Does it really? Created by Minako Narita, Cipher is a shoujo series that takes place in New York City in the 1980s. Siva and Cipher are famous teenage actors, and for reasons unknown, they take turns playing the character Siva at their school. The Cipher twins are so identical that nobody even knows that they have twin brothers. This allows them to swap whenever they feel like taking a day off from school, but the reason that they do this is their biggest secret. One day, Siva meets a young girl named Anise, and she decides that she wants to be Siva's friend. Siva seems unapproachable, but to her surprise, he says yes, so they do get to know each other, and that's the basis for the manga. But one day, she stumbles onto Siva's dark secret, and a bet gets made. If she can tell the difference between the twins in 14 days, they will let her know why they live this double life. Now go ahead and disregard everything I just said. None of what I just said happens anywhere in the anime. Cipher the video was made assuming that you read the manga that this anime is based on. So with that out of the way, they thought it was okay to just release an anime based on it with no story, no dialogue to speak of, and they just turned the entire thing into a 1980s MTV music video. It's borderline experimental, and I kind of love it. Think about all the time people have been wasting on writing stories for anime, when really, all you need to do is string together a couple of AMVs and you call it a day. Someone needs to tell teenage me that I was making anime in high school because all those AMVs that I made count apparently. Apparently, I've just been directing anime for years and I didn't know it. Oh, so they're not gay. Just wanted to get that out of the way. I don't really have a place in the review to put that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and insert this right into the beginning of the video just to get that out of the way so you guys know.
Well, Kenny Lauderdale, Rich notices that you're gay now.
And no, I don't know why they kiss each other. That's just kind of what they do in shoujo manga and anime geared towards teenage girls in the 1980s.
Yeah.
The only thing I can even compare this anime to is that one time that Leiji Matsumoto made an anime and set the entire thing to Daft Punk's Discovery album in 2003. Daft Punk's anime Interstellar 5555 at least connected their music videos together with a story. Cipher the video doesn't bother doing that. Cipher says, let's take a bunch of clips from a manga that nobody has read, make a bunch of fake interviews, and set all of that to Phil Collins music. Honestly though, I have to hand it to Cipher. It's the most faithful 80s soundtrack that has ever been pressed onto a laserdisc, and I really don't think anything is ever going to top this. This reminds me of that one time John Denver's Country Road found its way onto Studio Ghibli's movie Whisper of the Heart, just way more 80s. Cipher is so 80s, in fact, that it's only rivaled by California Crisis in its depiction of America at that time. You start to watch it and you're like, man, this intro is really long, and then Footloose starts playing and you realize this is really something special. Even JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does not have that kind of money these days. Cipher is also straight to the point. It doesn't waste time on things like a narrative, it doesn't even need to be translated. The entire thing is almost completely in English. Think about it, this is an anime that you don't even need to understand Japanese to enjoy. Now, some of you may be wondering why this anime is actually completely in English instead of Japanese. Well, the creator of Cipher's manga insisted on using English-speaking Japanese people to dub her anime for her, all for authenticity because all of the characters live in New York City.
Not interested.
I'm crazy about him. Let me get to meet him.
If you're gonna make an anime about Americans in New York City set to Phil Collins music, you might as well go all out. So good for her, I guess. How about we talk about voice actors for a second? Who worked on this and made this authentic American experience a thing? Well, let me tell you. His name is Jay Kabira, who played both Cipher and Siva. He's quite a guy, and he did a really good job.
Well, since I'm good at acting in ordinary life, like an Academy winner.
He was also very recently the narrator for 2019's gambling spin-off Middle Manager Tonagawa. And man oh man, it's just exactly what you would expect from the voice acting from Cipher the Video.
Safety zone! Danger zone! Danger zone! Unbelievable! To be continued!
Cipher the Video was produced by Studio Magic Bus, who has worked on so many anime that I can't even get into it here. If you're looking for bad animation or quality faces, you won't find any of them in this anime. Each AMV is lovingly drawn, and even the still shots all look like they moonwalked straight off the manga. The director for this anime was Tsuneo Tominaga, who did episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10 of Galactic Patrolman Lensman. All 4 of these episodes were recently saved from becoming lost media through some absolutely incredible effort, so maybe go and check those out if you're into that sort of thing. I'd also like to mention that while Cipher the Video never came out in English, Cipher's manga did get re-released by DC Comics' CMX manga branch. Sadly, they closed that in 2010, and a few of the volumes are getting really expensive. We're talking like triple-digit numbers here for one volume of a shoujo manga from the 1980s. I also noticed that they removed this Ghostbusters logo from volume 1 of the manga, and while I understand why they did it, it just makes that cover so much more 1980s, doesn't it? The story of Cipher is only told in the manga, but what little I've read was pretty enjoyable, so I'm gonna go ahead and give that manga a recommendation too. And finally, I have to point out that in typical 1980s fashion, some of the characters from Cipher's manga got their own 1980s spin-off called Alexandrite. Didn't get an anime, but it's out there if you really want to track it down. So if you're still watching this, you're probably really into MTV music videos and 1980s anime. So with that said, where can you watch this? Well, it only came out in Japan, there's no DVD, there's no Blu-ray, there's no streaming service that has it, and to my knowledge, Cipher has only been released on, you guessed it, VHS and Laserdisc. The odds of this ever getting re-released are almost zero, and I don't even want to know how much it would cost to put Phil Collins and Footloose back into an anime again. Have you ever had an anime where you never skip the intro just because it's that good? Imagine that feeling stretched out to 42 minutes. It's nothing but intro. It's all anime intro. It's the best parts of anime without any of the filler. I can now say Phil Collins is my favorite anime composer without it being a lie. Nora has no animation, but Cipher the Video has no story. Will we find an anime that has no sound and no visuals one day to create the ultimate not an anime triangle? And yet, still better than Twinkle Nora Rock Me. Not sure how that happened. Cipher is a period piece, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the sort of series that's so defined by its decade and everything surrounding it that remaking the thing would just completely ruin it. Could you imagine if they redid Cipher with social media and cell phones? Do people even know who the Thompson twins are anymore? So with that said, would I recommend Cipher the Video? Not Cipher the Anime, it pretty much is just a bunch of anime music videos. Well, obviously, a 40-minute video made out of AMVs for an anime that doesn't exist is kind of a hard sell, it's not for everybody. But I almost want to say this is the perfect anime. It's so specifically catered to what I watch that it feels like it was made just for me. The weird voice acting, the Phil Collins music, the complete madness you go through if you haven't read the manga that this is based on. It's experimental and it's nostalgic in all the right places. And hey, Steven Spielberg liked it. Not sure I would have given it a 10 out of 10 on my anime list, but who am I to argue with Steven Spielberg, right? Screw it, 10 out of 10. Let's hear it for the boy. I did think it was kind of weird to end the anime on 5 minutes of live-action footage of 2 buildings that don't exist anymore, though.
Super good.
Well, thank you very much for seeing this video all the way to the end. If you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, and if you're lucky, YouTube might actually tell you when a new video that I do goes up. And if you really like what I do, consider supporting me through Streamlabs. I do a stream once every Friday night, and you can even vote on what video I might do in the community tab. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Take care.